Hey y'all, welcome to my sewing room. I just wanted to sit down with y'all today and chat with you about guided drawing. I feel like with most art teachers, there's this kind of divide in the thought about the whole guided drawing thing. I feel like guided drawing gets a bad rap. And me personally, I really like doing guided drawing with my students, and my students really like doing guided drawing. So I thought I would kind of chat with you today about why I get it, why I understand how some teachers might not be big fans of guided drawing. I also thought I'd share with you why I am a big fan and kind of the techniques and things that I do to make guided drawing a success and a happy experience in my art room. So if you don't know what guided drawing is, it's when a instructor has a group of students that follow along with them step by step, making a drawing or a painting or just about anything where somebody is kind of showing you the steps and you're following along, trying to kind of sort of do your best to match the instructor. I pretty much think that's the gist of it. And I understand why it might get a bad rap. I believe that sometimes the argument is that guided drawing takes away the creative aspect that a student might be able to have in the drawing. If they're simply copying an instructor, where is their voice in that? I understand that argument completely, and I'm going to chat with you about that in just a second. I think another argument against guided drawing is that it is all about following along, and it kind of might give the impression, if this isn't addressed, that this is how we make art and this is the only way to make art. And like I said, I understand that, but let me share with you how I would like to kind of debunk that, or how I go about teaching guided drawing that eliminates that kind of thought process. But first, I want to talk to you about why I love guided drawing. When I do guided drawing with my students, and most recently I did it with my kindergarten through second grade students when we were learning about Roy G. Biv. He came to visit us. It was actually me, dressed in costume, and he taught us how to draw a picture of himself. And it was a great way for me to share with my students vocabulary. I feel like guided drawing is an awesome way to share with your students vocabulary, because not only are you saying draw a vertical line, but you're demonstrating what a vertical line looks like, what it feels like to draw that line, and then how you can use it to create art. If I'm asking my students to find the middle of the paper, or draw a circle or a triangle, draw this shape above, have this line run parallel, all of this awesome vocabulary I'm throwing at them, they're using it, and they're seeing it right before their very eyes. So that's one reason I love guided drawing. Another reason is because the students really feel so much pride when they're doing a guided drawing. Kids who might have thought, oh, I can only draw a stick figure, can suddenly make something that looks like what they want it to. And they're so stinking proud of their drawings when they're finished. And with that pride, I'm hoping that they will then take it and then go out and create more art on their own and have the confidence to do so. So I think that getting back to the kind of cons of guided drawing, I think sometimes it also might feel to students that if they don't do it just like the instructor, that they're not doing it right, or they're not a good artist, or they're kind of a failure. So how do you eliminate that negative, that self-doubting that the kids might feel, that negative talk? So here are some things that I do, because if it's one thing I never want to have happen in my art room, I never want to have my students feel inadequate. I never want them to feel like they're not a good enough kid and not a good enough artist. And sometimes they might feel that way, especially those perfectionists, when it comes to guided drawing. So here's just a couple of things that I do with my students to put their minds at ease, to help them relax as they're following along with me and we're doing a guided drawing together. The first thing I tell them is this: we are all going to be following the same steps to create a drawing, but each one of us is very unique. Therefore, we're all going to hear the directions a little differently. We're going to translate it a little bit differently in our thoughts and our imagination, and then it's going to appear differently on our paper. So every one of our drawings is going to be different and unique, and that is an amazing thing. That's what we want. I tell them if I had wanted all of your drawings to be the same, I would have simply gone to the copier and made copies of the drawing for you, and that's not what I want. I also tell them that if they draw something they don't like, they can simply flip their paper over and try it again. Please doing so quietly because we're all trying to hear the directions. Or another thing you can do is tell the kids that this drawing that we're making is a practice drawing. It does not have to be your final product. So tomorrow when you have art class again, if you're not happy with this drawing, then you can take it, use it as an example so you can remember those steps and make a new drawing. Because most of the time it'll be one little line that kind of makes a kid want to start over again, and that's never a thing that I want to have happen in my room. We want to really establish that beautiful oops, make it work kind of mentality. So that's why I say to them, just go with it. This is just a practice drawing. Next time, if you're still not happy with it, you can try it again. And by the time art class is over, they're usually so pleased with their drawing that they forget that one little thing that was upsetting them at the start of the drawing. Another thing I like to do is have my kids use dry erase boards. If you have them draw along with you on a dry erase board, then they can simply use their finger to erase any kind of line they're not happy with, and then finish the drawing, take that drawing to their seat, and use that as their guide as they draw on paper or whatever the final product is going to be. So those are some ways that I kind of eliminate that guided drawing stress. And like I said, those are the reasons I love guided drawing. I can build the confidence of my students. I can introduce so much vocabulary. I can show them the magic of lines and shapes and color and how they can come together to create a drawing. And as you're pointing that out to your students, it's like a little light bulb goes off above their head. Oh, I can simply break down something I'm trying to draw into lines and shapes and color. You could tell kids that until you're blue in the face, but until you actually demonstrate that to kids, then they actually are going to see it. Now, with any kind of teaching method, guided drawing, choice-based teaching, really structured drawing where you know the end result, with all of those different kind of methods and many more that there are to teaching and teaching art, I feel like there always needs to be a balance. So if you only did guided kind of drawing projects where you knew what the end result was going to be, then that little balance of teaching is going to shift and your kids are going to be missing out on other kinds of experiences. So I might use guided drawing in my room, but it's not the only tool in my toolbox that I use. There's all sorts of different amazing methods of teaching. The more of those methods you incorporate, the more of your students you're going to reach. And guided drawing is just one of those great methods of teaching that I love to use, and I think y'all might also. So thank you guys for letting me share my kind of love for guided drawing and how I approach it with my students in my art room.